What's up guys, Chasing Lamey here with episode number 28 of our Williams Revival series here on F1 Manager 22, and the big headline, if you missed the last episode, is that Valtteri Bottas has replaced Théo Pourchaire in our second car for the remainder of the season, and indeed the next 3 seasons, because Théo Pourchaire was just crashing all the time and I wasn't going to deal with it. We also currently have less than minus £1 million, just about minus £1 million is the best way of putting that. So we are a little bit stalled on development, but it'll be fine. We'll get some money back from this race, from the sponsors, hopefully put in a good performance. We're going to keep moving forward though, because we do need to make sure we've got everything tickety-boo in the right place, and hopefully we'll have a good race. We finished manufacturing some front wings. Hopefully we won't need as many now we've got Pourchaire out of the car. I am very aware of commentators cursing us out of a situation here, but it'll be fine. We'll have a little look at Bottas, so in terms of a driver. He does bring a lot of quality. If I do a comparison with him and... Will they let me do a comparison with him and Pourchaire? You'd have to hope it would do, but we'll see. Recently viewed, it's not going to let me do it. I don't know what... If I know how to do that, that's fine. I know how to make that work. We'll go and we'll pick up the Théo Pourchaire profile from here. Hopefully that will let me do it. Let's find Théo. He's way down here, I remember. Way down here. Beautiful. Right, so if we pull him there and we do a comparison between Théo Pourchaire, and we'll change that to Valtteri Bottas, you'll see the difference. I mean, there's less growth potential, but overall 13 points better. Way better on accuracy, reactions, defending, overtaking, adaptability. The only place they're equal is on smoothness. And control, braking, cornering, all significantly better with Valtteri, and obviously we have got a contract with Bottas, and Pourchaire has a contract with nobody. We've replaced Aston Martin, for those who missed the last episode, by Mick Schumacher. So, good times all around. Right, we're going to the Grand Prix tomorrow. We've got our race preview, which says that we're doing okay, I suppose. Hopefully we'll get some points still, though I can't buy any new engine parts, and that is a thing I kind of wanted to be able to do. We need to do the race prep. Let's have a look at the car on the analysis just to see what that's saying. The grid average for this, we're 7th on top speed, we're 5th on high speed, 5th on top speed under DRS. I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest we can probably get both our cars into Q3, and indeed get both of our cars into points paying positions today. That'd be nice. So we're going to get both cars in Q3. Qualifying position, we're going to go both drivers into P10 or above, because that's what Q3 is, and hopefully we'll get some benefit there. And fastest, I'm going to go for a fastest lap. I think we can get a fastest lap. I don't know why that's in my head, but I think we can. So we're going to go to the race weekend, and I'll see you after qualifying. So you know the deal, qualifying is over, and we've had a pretty good day out at Monza for Saturday. Leclerc takes pole, Sainz on second to complete another Ferrari front row lockout. Sergio Perez on third. Valtteri Bottas, the Williams returning new boy, takes 4th place on the grid. So second row in his first outing. Doesn't even have a chance to get to know the car, and he's already pulling off miracles. Russell, Verstappen, Hamilton, Piastri in 8th. Ocon, Gasly, Norris, Alonso, Magnussen, Vettel, Ricciardo, Schumacher in the Alfa Romeo. Tsunoda, Stroll, Zhou Guanyu and Alex Albon brings up the back of the grid. So, let's go talk some strategy, shall we?
It's race day, and final preparations are underway.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. We've been having sunny weather here today, but there are some clouds looming that might complicate things for teams further down the line.
Well, this is going to be one thrilling Italian Grand Prix, and we're nearly ready to kick things off.
So there has been some rain over the course of the weekend. It came during practice on Friday, so it's not something I see as an immediate threat. We will, of course, check the weather report before we go into our strategising. It looks like we're not really at threat of rain, so that'll be absolutely fine. I am thinking we're just going to pick whichever strategy says it gets us home fastest. It does look like going from mediums to hards is the best strategy here. I'm just having a little look to see how that affects tyre wear. I think we're going to go with Piastri. We'll go mediums to hards. It does give us the ability to change things up if we need to, because the hards will, if they need to, go the entire race distance, and which means if we get an early safety car, we'll be in a good position to take advantage of it. That feels like it's a good move. In terms of fuel, I think we're going to go with just a couple of extra laps. 3 extra laps should do it for us, because there is a danger of a safety car at Monza. We will go for a slightly higher pace too, because that feels like something we can get away with. Let's ask the strategy screen if that's a thing we can get away with, because we have the ability to do that. So let's have a look at the pace target. That should get us a bit more pace out of the car there. A bit more pace out. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, we'll update strategy C. We're going to stay in slightly more of a push with Piastri from 8th position on the grid. In terms of Valtteri Bottas' strategy, he's very good on his tyres. We all know he's very good on his tyres. I don't see the logic in giving him anything other than a soft to medium strategy. I feel like that will get him to the end, and as I said, we get an early safety car, we're laughing, and I think we're going to go... Do we go with a bit more fuel? I think he's pretty good at overtaking. We're going to go with a bit more fuel and really give him what he needs to push through this race. I think that's going to be a good strategy. So, bit of a split one. Gives us a little bit of wiggle room to play with, depending where we are on the track and in terms of what the race is shaking out as. I think we're going to call that pretty well locked in, and let's go see what we can do in Valtteri Bottas' return to Williams.
I don't want to tempt fate, but there are quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. And there's Valtteri Bottas. Not as close to the front as they might have wished for, but we know the race order can change a lot during those first few corners. And looking at the second Williams car, with a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. Everything's been building to this. Here we are at the oldest circuit in Europe for this, the Italian Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
So we're away at Monza, and already Piastri having a little bit of a look, trying to get himself a good line somewhere, but he's dropped a position already to Ocon off the grid. That's not a great look for him, and you've got to think he should be doing better than that. Let's jump on board Valtteri though, because he's just got himself into a battle with Perez, and I can't help thinking that Valtteri Bottas might just have the ability to really pull up some trees here. I mean, it's Valtteri Bottas. He does have the ability to outperform a car, and he's got a good car under him. So we'll see what happens. Piastri's just gained a position to get himself back up into 9th, so a really poor start for Oscar. Valtteri, meanwhile, staying very, very firmly with the Red Bull and the Ferraris. Let's have a look at this overtake, see what's happening behind us.
And there they go, moving up a position. Just incredible manoeuvring.
I mean, it's a good overtake round Curva Grande, around the outside as well, which is always beneficial. And we're sticking with these leaders, which is good. And hopefully we can start very quickly pulling away from Lewis and George. We're already pulling away from Lewis and George. It's going to take Verstappen a while to pull up and really challenge us. So we could actually be in a really good position for some cheeky points, maybe a podium. Who knows what's going to happen here, but we are going to stay on board with Valtteri for at least the start of this race. We're going to double speed because, you know, overtaking doesn't really happen on this track until we get ourselves into DRS, as much as I'd like to think we can. We also, as I said, we haven't put any brand new engine in for this, so we are very much relying on old machinery to get us through to the end. I feel like if I had the ability to have a brand new engine and start in 4th, we'd be leading by now. But, you know, such is life in Formula 1. We are, as I said, dropping Lewis Hamilton and George Russell quite rapidly, which is nice. That's going to be very helpful once we start getting towards DRS, although Hamilton might just stay in touch as we get over the line to see DRS activated. and if he does that, he'll pull back up to us and leave George well in his dust. But we're not quite there yet. We're fighting through, crossing the line now. DRS enabled. Beautiful stuff. Jinx for Alex Chan, and we're going to hope for the absolute best here. Piastri needs to start making some big moves, though. That is going to be a real issue. I'm going to keep an eye on the ERS usage, because I do think we are going to struggle to maintain enough ERS with Bottas to stay ahead of Hamilton before we get to the DRS. So it looks like Hamilton's making a concerted effort, I should say, to try and pull up to the back of us using some deploy. He's realised he has to get close enough to us to at least make an overtake look possible. Bottas, though, of course, knows Lewis very well, should have his number in terms of at least knowing what he's going to do before he does it, which is always useful. DRS open. Are we going to start pulling up on Perez? I don't know if we are. We are dropping Hamilton, so we're slightly better under DRS, which should give us a little bit of an advantage in this train as we try and stay involved. Oscar Piastri makes a move on Ocon, going into Ascari as well, so we'll have a little look at that in a second. We're going to drop down to neutral on both their ERSs for a little while. Let's have a look at the overtake on Ocon by Piastri. Didn't even need to get to Ascari to make the move happen, just did it on pure DRS overtaking muscle. And as we come out of Parabolica now, we have got to try and stay in touch. That's going to be a really key feature of this race, just trying to stay in touch with the three leaders. They are pulling away, leaving us behind a little bit, so we're just trying to keep Hamilton behind us, which is not an easy feat, but it's not impossible, as we catch up in the braking zone like it's nothing. Let's see if we can keep that slipstream while we pull out of the or into the Curva Grande. We should be okay to stay in touch here. I think we're going to be doing just fine. Is Piastri in a position to make inroads on Verstappen? Probably not. It's got to be said. He may have been dropped already. Let's go jump on board with Piastri, actually, and let's see if we can do a deploy. Someone's gone wide in Sector 2. I'm not sure who it would have been. I didn't see anything happening. We've got DRS, and it was Verstappen that ran wide, and Piastri has absolutely done him. That is magical. That's good stuff. We'll drop back to the neutral on the ERS, and we're going to try and keep Verstappen behind. Let's have another look at that, see if we can see what happened with Verstappen. We're not going to see him going wide, we're just going to see the overtake. So I don't know how he's made a mistake there, but we'll have to assume he's made a big error we'll never see, and we'll carry on and do what we do. Piastri, the fastest man on track so far. That's always a good look for us as well. I'm going to keep him saving up his ERS slowly as we tick down some laps, though, purely because we should be able to catch up with Russell. He should have the pace to catch up with Russell. Hopefully we can build up some ERS just to bridge that gap if we need to and get in the DRS train with the leaders. Bottas, meanwhile, staying very much on the back of Perez, keeping him honest. Looking pretty good so far. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick zoom, because we do need to get through some of this race a little bit. We are sort of waiting for action to happen. Piastri and Verstappen are having a battle. I just spotted that. That should be interesting going through the race. If we can stay in touch with Verstappen, we'll be okay. But it does rely on Verstappen not having any more mistakes. Let's have a rely on Verstappen making mistakes, I expect. So let's just stay the same pass. Just he's played Piastri his own game, really. Let's be completely honest, but we are going to come through a very long DRS straight again in just a second. Hopefully, Piastri should be able to get himself ahead of Verstappen once that rear wing opens, which is now. He's going to pull up on him very, very quickly. We're going to do him around the outside into the chicane. We are going to do him on the outside. Job done. Good stuff. We have sort of kept him behind. Someone's gone off in turn one. Bottas has overtaken Perez while other things have been going on. Let's see what's happening there. It happened going into the chicane. He's just done him. He almost took the Ferrari as well. And Bottas is looking very, very racy. We're going to enjoy having Valtteri Bottas in the team. If he can do stuff like that to a Red Bull, we will be absolutely laughing. We are going to maybe sneak away with a podium here. I'm not sure what happened with Tsunoda with a lockup was why the yellow flag had come out. That's the information we were looking for. And Bottas now DRS on science will jump on board because it looks like Bottas has just decided to kind of go for it. And Leclerc is sort of in the way here on his long strategy. You'd think he'd let Sainz go because they're clearly on alternate strategy. You'd think Ferrari would be ordering him to let Sainz go and put a car between us. Maybe this is what's happening right now as they go for the overtake. Sainz has taken Leclerc. Looks like he had to do it the hard way rather than the team orders, which is fully understandable. And we're going to try and take Leclerc as well and chase down Carlos Sainz. That's our next target. Good stuff happening all up and down the field for us today as we get the DRS open. And Sainz passes Leclerc. We almost take... Leclerc passes Sainz and we almost take Sainz is what I was trying to say. We're going to be in a good battle with the Ferraris. And are we dropping Perez? Not quite yet. Perez should have a good run on us through this DRS zone, but of course we will get DRS. We're going to try and pull ourselves up on the Ferraris as well. We go around the outside of Leclerc. We're not. Perez has a little look at us. That's going very well. Let's go off board because we're wheel to wheel with Sergio Perez and right behind the Ferraris. This is a big battle. Let's bring that down into regular speed. Something's happened in sector 2. Piastri is overtaking Verstappen. Let's see what's happening there. Piastri and up the inside. Happy days. Good stuff. Make that stick and carry on with your day, sir. Have a fun life. Well done to you, Oscar. You're doing well battling with Max. Leclerc's gone wide. I missed that in all the excitement. Let's have a look what's happened there. Leclerc's gone wide. He's not been passed. He's managed to keep it on the island or get back on the island quick enough. But Leclerc's been dropped by Sainz now, and that means we're all going to be fighting to overtake Charles Leclerc. Us, Perez, we're going to be doing well. Even Hamilton and Russell are looking at this move as we start looking towards another DRS attack down the main straight. Let's go back on board with Bottas. Piastri up into 7th now. We'll keep a loose eye on Piastri, but Bottas, it looks like, is going to be our hero today. That very much looks like the likely story as Bottas goes looking for maybe a move on Leclerc and Perez. He should get DRS on them. You don't want to be the car in front at this point with Sainz so far ahead. It's a bit of an error if you can't gap them. I mean, we're just going to try and catch up because there is no gap for a pass unless we can do something magical coming through the chicane. Looks unlikely. I'd like to think that probably we'll stay on the back of Leclerc quite easily. Perez has gone and overtaken Sainz. He is on these soft tyres as well, so that is going to give him a bit of an advantage as well at this early stage in the Grand Prix. Let's double the speed, see if we can keep Hamilton behind us. I think Hamilton is on softs as well. Russell sticking with us on mediums could be a real threat towards the end of the race as well. It could come down to Leclerc and Russell in the late stage of the Grand Prix, which I don't think would be enough to bring Piastri into it. Of course, a safety car here would change absolutely everything. We are going to be looking for another DRS tow, though, down from Leclerc. It looks like Sainz, Perez and Leclerc are trying to drop us. They're probably not going to fully achieve it, which is what we're really hoping will happen. We're trying to get onto the back of them. We've done it pretty much straight away, and now we're going to go back to follow mode, get ourselves back into the back of Leclerc. We should be faster than them through sector 2 as Verstappen's overtaken Piastri again. We'll have a look at that. It was probably DRS. It was DRS. And this battle with Verstappen is going to go all the way to the end, you feel, because they're not really going to drop each other. And that's kind of the trouble with Monza with DRS, is that there's not enough gap between DRS zones to really drop someone unless you have a significantly faster car. As Piastri overtakes Verstappen again, going into Ascari, just to prove my point. Those guys are stuck together because they are just fighting to try and catch up to Russell. We're not going to watch that overtake. We've seen that overtake before. It's Bottas now really trying to make some inroads. That's what we're looking for. If Bottas can get past Leclerc, we are going to be absolutely laughing. And we should be able to join Perez and Sainz in leaving him behind a little bit. And that will work out very nicely for us. In the grand scheme of the Grand Prix, Sector 2, there's been another wide. I'm not sure who that's been. It wasn't us, so that's always benefit. Gasly. Pierre Gasly goes wide. That's not worked out well for him at all, has it? We're going to stay on the back, though, down this straight. Can we get through the parabolica and stay on the back of Leclerc? That will be ideal. I am, as I say, looking to drop Lewis if we can. That would be tremendously helpful. Bottas is using more all of his ERS every lap, which is not helping us tremendously. But we're going to have to just hope for a safety car to recharge, if I'm honest, because he is charging up as much as he can. He's deploying as much as he can. He's just kind of net zero and doing his thing. We are just going through the Lesmos, seeing what we can do. Back down this final DRS straight off the lap, looking into the Ascari chicane, doing our best there, good stuff. And we are very much in this fight. Hamilton joining us, Russell trying to join us, Piastri not really joining us is what's happening. He's just overtaken Verstappen again. Those guys are going to go back and forth all race. Let's be honest, it's going to be quite the battle as we have another look at the Ferraris. Perez has taken the lead whilst I've been looking down the timing tree, and we are very much in the lead battle and having a good time, which is nice. We just want no more mistakes. Verstappen's overtaken Piastri again. As I said, that's going to keep going for the entire Grand Prix. Probably quite significantly keep going for the entire Grand Prix. Bottas still in the fight with Sainz, Perez, Leclerc ahead of us, all battling each other. Perez, Leclerc looks like the current battle for the lead, but you know, the pit stops, anyone getting a good undercut here is going to really have some advantage. And I mean, it could be us. I'm not certain yet because I don't know what. Oh, that was a very good look on Sainz by Bottas. Got himself very close. I am a little bit concerned that Bottas isn't quite. I mean, he's on the ragged edge of what those tyres will do. Coming in for a set of hards doesn't make a lot of sense unless we absolutely have to. I've got a lot of faith in our pit crew as well to be able to get a good quick stop, get him back out onto the track. Someone else has had an off on sector 2. Not quite sure who that was this time. Hasn't brought out a safety car. It's Guan Yu Show, which will affect nothing because they'll be lapped by the end of the race anyway, the two Aston Martins, as they often are. Bottas dropping back a little bit on Sainz, but gets caught right back up in the chicane. We really do need to make something happen. Ocon is fighting with Verstappen. We'll have a look at that because that's Piastri, Ocon and Verstappen fighting for places. And if Ocon can keep Verstappen behind him, we could get away here. It's not impossible. Piastri currently catching up to George Russell, which is interesting. We'll draw that down into one-time speed because this could go almost anywhere as the medium runners start to really make some good inroads on the cars ahead of them. Let's look at the tyre situation. Piastri, of course, very down on tyres because that's just Piastri burning through the tyres like he's been told to. Bottas burning through a lot of tyres as well. I haven't told him to burn tyres. I think he's just been stuck in the slipstream of everyone else for so long that it started to affect his tyre wear a little bit, which is understandable. I could have told him to drive in clean air, maybe stay off the curbs, all that good stuff, but it does ultimately just lose him time. So we're just going to hope for the best. I think there's going to be an undercut. Piastri is locked up going into turn 1, which is pretty standard for Piastri, but of course if that brings out a safety car for no reason at all, we'll take advantage. Piastri, though, doing his traditional thing of not understanding what tarmac and grass are, not understanding the difference between the two is something he does very, very well. And naturally, he's disappointed us again. As I said in the last episode, if I could have replaced both our drivers financially, I probably would have done. But we've kept Piastri on as the lesser of the two evils, I suppose. Hopefully, Piastri will make amends for that in the second stint when he goes on to hards. I'm thinking I might have to put Bottas on a set of hards at this point because his tyre wear is slightly ridiculous. And I'm not quite sure why. I don't like it. I don't like why it's ridiculous. Let's go and have a little look to see if we can maybe get ourselves back into contention with the leaders. Where Perez has come in for a pit stop very, very early. I am thinking we might come in for a set of mediums. Perez, of course, very good on his tyres. Bottas today has not been quite so good on his tyres, has to be said. Let's see what Perez comes out on. We'll make the decision based on what Perez comes out on. Perez has come out on mediums. I think we've got to do likewise, and I think there'll be other cars coming at about the same time. So we're small gamble on the early stop, but I think it's going to help. Let's fully attack. Let's burn off all these tyres as best we can and get ourselves a little bit closer to the two Ferraris because they either come in at the same time as us or a lap after us. And if they come in a lap after us, we're actually kind of quids in, because we should move up into second, which would do very, very nicely as we keep pushing towards the end of this lap. It is going to be all about who comes in with us and who comes in after us, because I think anyone coming in after us is going to end up behind us for certain. I'm going to get ready to drop that down to standard as we get to enter the pit lane. Come out of the oh, I've just missed it, but it's fine. Sainz and Hamilton coming with us. They've understood exactly what the game is here, I think. At this point, they know exactly what the game is we're playing, and we just need to get a better stop than them. It's going to be very, very tight. The Ferrari will be back out in the pit lane already. The Mercedes is out of the pit lane already. So Hamilton has done well to get past. So we've been held up by Hamilton and Sainz passing us. A little bit disappointed. I've got to be honest. We've been passed purely in the pit stop phase. And now we need Valtteri to do Valtteri things. We need a lot of the cars who started on mediums to start getting in the way and help us out a little bit, which is going to be the big issue here. But who knows, there could be something to get done here. Sainz directly ahead of us. Hamilton has Stroll between him and Sainz. He's done very well to get himself up into net second. Meanwhile, Piastri, bit of clean air between him and Verstappen. Got to be said, I think he's going to have to do wonders on his second stint. Sector 2 has had a problem. I don't know who has locked up. Don't see what Norris probably that was, I would suggest. Either way, it was Hamilton locking up. Hasn't fallen behind Sainz or Bottas, so hasn't helped us out in any way. But, you know, that is like, maybe he's ruined his tyres. Let's have a little look. He hasn't really ruined his tyres with that, so there have been no gains to be made. And that, I'm afraid, is just how this cookie is going to crumble. Either way, we are heading towards that pit window, heading quite carefully towards it. I think we're going to drop down to standard for this last part of the stint, just so we don't lose too much in terms of time by having to go through the pit stop. Okay, this is the optimal lap for our pit strategy. I am tempted to just go, screw it, he'll make it, but he won't make it, and that's the problem. I wish we could go on to a set of mediums. I do. Let's go on to a set of hards, as we planned. Just call it a day on that strategy-wise. It should be fine. I don't know if any of the guys who started it behind us is going to a hard. Is everyone finishing on either a soft or a medium? This is kind of the time to make that decision, if you're going to make that decision. I mean, Leclerc and Russell are probably going to a soft for the end. That's going to be an issue for us. Bottas moves up into 10th, behind Sainz, Perez, and now Hamilton, who has taken the net race lead. This could be a very interesting end-of-race battle, and we are very much hoping for the best. Let's put Piastri on full attack, see what he can do in terms of breaking down some lap time to Ocon at least. He should get fairly close in the grand scheme of things, and then we're just going to keep pushing on the hards until we get ourselves to the end. I think this is probably the fastest way to get ourselves to the end. I think the strategy team may have been absolutely correct on this. We'll soon find out. We're about to come out of the Parabolica for the last time on medium tyres. We'll come into the pits ready to make the absolute best we can of this pit stop. It does need to be a very good pit stop here, because we are absolutely going to be on the limit. Who else is coming in? Anyone coming in with us? Nobody coming in with us just yet. We are essentially looking for the undercut on Alonso. Let's go and get up on the jack, see what we can do. Going for a 2.7, that'll do us nicely. Not held up at all. He'll end up behind Bottas. Might end up behind Stroll as well. Sonoda's come in, so that will help. Where are we going to come out in relation to Pierre Gasly? That's the next big question. Gasly right behind us. That's worked out for us, jumping Gasly, because I think he was ahead of us at one stage. And Norris has just gone and done us all on the outside. What a champ that man is. Absolute champion. But either way, we are going to be okay. I think we're still going to pick up some points. Let's just see what Valtteri can do, though. He's going to be the key component to this. He does need to do some catching up to the guys ahead. He is catching up to the guys ahead. He's just going to have to do some overtaking. Bottas gets the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That will help us out eventually. We do have Hamilton in our sights. We should be able to get past him. There is Hamilton, Perez and Sainz ahead of us. They're all behind Alonso, who's yet to pit. Verstappen, I think, hasn't come in yet, so the 5 guys ahead haven't come in. So assuming they've not built a big enough gap, I mean, it's possible Leclerc, Russell, Ocon and Verstappen may have done if we don't get past Ocon. I mean, we could be looking at net P4. I think we're looking at net P6, but we could be looking at net P4 at this stage in the Grand Prix. We'll see what happens. In fact, I have just realised I've not put Piastri on an aggressive driving style. That's not going to help him get past anyone. Let's put some energy in the tyres, bud. Let's just get this done. Bottas doing very well to chase down Hamilton. He is getting closer. Piastri's overtaken Norris. Let's have a look at that overtake. It was DRS. He pulled out. He went for it. Hopefully, now he's pushing on these tyres. He should have approximately the same pace as the mediums. We do have a faster car than the McLaren, so we should be okay to pull away, or at least pull those guys up into a decent battle with the cars ahead of them. Either way, that will work out pretty well for us, I would like to think, by the end of the race. We've got Stroll just up ahead of us. Bottas again takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and we do it again on this lap, he's going to pass Alonso pretty much for certain, and he should get on the back of Hamilton before we get through the chicane. Let's see what this looks like. Is he going for the big dive bomb, Valtteri Bottas? You'd like to think he'd want to brake later. He hasn't braked later, but he has kept his toe in, and he's going to get Alonso with traction on the exit and hopefully stay on the back of Hamilton. Or is he? We're going to go around Curva Grande. We've really got to get the traction advantage here. Otherwise, we're in trouble. Looks like Bottas will make it happen. He's got to make it happen coming through this chicane. Keep things steady, no lockups here, and we'll be fine. Gets it done, Valtteri Bottas, and stays on the back of Lewis Hamilton. And there are now questions. Let's have a look at the gap to the leader. Perez, Sainz, Hamilton and Bottas might just be within a pit stop. It is going to come down to tyre wear, and when those guys ahead decide it's time to come in. But I think we're going to be in a good position. Bottas, at the moment, the fastest man on track. And being the fastest man on track is definitely going to be an advantage, because that's how motor racing works. You know, logic. It's all about getting from lights to flag fastest at the end of the day. And that's what we're trying to do. Let's have a look at what Piastri is doing. He's on the back of Lance Stroll. You've got to think he's got to get past him eventually, because Lance Stroll is not terribly quick, and he is on very old tyres. Can we get him going through the Parabolica, or are we going to have to do it under DRS? Either way, I think we're going to do it on the next straight, so we should be okay. Pull out of here. I mean, it would have been nice if Stroll had just pulled in, let us go, but he's not going to do that, so we're going to pull out, open up the DRS, wait for the overspeed to come. We should leave him for dust. Hopefully Norris will follow us through, because that'll be fun for us to have some racing to do. He's not going to follow us through, as far as I can tell. Job done. Let's pull away and leave these boys behind, Oscar. We don't need any of their shenanigans. Meanwhile, Bottas still in a fight with Lewis Hamilton, looking pretty racy, it's got to be said, and I think we are actually slowly all catching up to Charles Leclerc, which is going to be very useful. Let's keep an eye on the gap to the leader, see if that's going down. It looks like it is. It looks like we're doing very well to keep that gap to the leader going down. Even Alonso might be on the cusp of within a pit stop of Leclerc at this point, which is very dangerous territory for Charles Leclerc. It's got to be said, very dangerous territory for Charles Leclerc. I think it's on a 24-second pit stop at Monza off the top of my head. So we are making those inroads. Verstappen and Ocon are also going to be in trouble. They're now trading positions. I think Perez might find himself in a good position. Looks like there's been some drama up ahead. I can't quite see what it is. DRS open as we try and chase down Lewis. Lewis having a look on the inside of Sainz. He shouldn't be able to hold that. Sainz should keep his place, and he does. And Bottas, though, very much in the fight with these boys ahead, looking pretty racy. We've got a good 14 battle going on here, and there is an Alpine involved in this battle as well. Possibly two Alpines involved in this battle when all is said and done, depending how the soft tyres help people get through the field. Piastri is currently bringing down the gap, I think, to Alonso very slowly, sector by sector. He's bringing that gap down to Alonso. Should be joining this fight by the end of the race, you'd like to think. Meanwhile, we're going to go super zoom because I've got a feeling something good's going to happen. Sector 1. What has happened in Sector 1? That's the big question. Verstappen has a lockup. Let's have a look at that, see how that affects the race.
Here we see Max Verstappen. And there's the lockup. It almost got away from him.
So Verstappen has lost Ocon. And it is about time he came in for new tyres anyway, so that's understandable. Bottas is still in the running, which is nice. I'm liking that he's still in the running. I would like him to start making some overtakes. So Hamilton going for the net race lead with an overtake on Perez, as our old friend Cringe joins us. Need to figure out how to stop those notifications popping up. We are very within a pit stop now. I think it is a four-way fight between Perez, Hamilton, Sainz and ourselves for the lead. Piastri is now catching us, with Alonso having made his pit stop and dropped down to 14th. I'm guessing Alonso's gone for a set of softs to the end, so he will be back and fighting with us very, very soon, it's got to be said. But the main fight is Bottas, Sainz, Hamilton and Perez for the lead. And honestly, it could go either way. There's been a few mistakes, or anywhere I should say. There's been a few mistakes so far. You've got to think the leaders have got to be thinking of making a pit stop soon, because we are all well within a pit stop now. Well within a pit stop. It'll be a very, very close battle for Leclerc coming out. Russell and Ocon are going to end up well behind us, possibly battling with Piastri for points, if we're honest. Which, say for points, Piastri's not actually in the points yet. They might just get away with that. But it's it's all very, very close. It's all very interesting at this stage in the Grand Prix. We're going to zoom forward because there does need to be an overtake happening. Bottas needs to stay in this fight. He's doing very well. A safety car here, I think, would change almost anything. As the leaders come in, let's see how that goes. Carlos Sainz has had a spin. How has that affected things? Has it affected us is the key question. It hasn't, because he's just gone off into the gravel. We have got ourselves an extra place, though. Sainz should get going from there, and hopefully we'll be okay. What happened out there was Ferrari doing Ferrari things, my friend. That's what happened. Right, the pit stops are in. Russell hasn't made his stop yet. He's going to be very aggressive on the second stint. Leclerc is behind us on his set of softs, so he's not had a great time, I think. But also, I guess he could be a real threat to Bottas coming towards the end of the race. He's going to catch us up very soon. We're going to have to do some defending. Leclerc could very much be in the fight for the win. Hamilton is definitely in the fight for the win as well. Perez is going to have a look under DRS, you'd think. Bottas should close up. Piastri has found his way into the points, but he does have Verstappen closing on him on a set of softs, which is going to be interesting. Ocon also very much in that fight for that final couple of positions in the points. But side by side, Hamilton going for the net lead. Russell comes in, so the lead will get handed over to Hamilton in just a second. Are we going to have a chance to sneak up through this? It very much depends on who's got the DRS trigger. I think it's probably going to be Perez. We'll see in just a second. It is Perez. So can we both take Lewis Hamilton? We're all close enough together that could be a thing. It's going to be a case of whoever has the bravery to dive up the inside. No one has the bravery to dive up the inside. Bottas very much just saying to himself, look, I'll take the DRS and the win. Or the podium, sorry, that'll do me nicely. Just pull me away from Charles Leclerc. I don't want to be in that fight, and I fully understand why he would feel like that. I would just take being DRS away from Leclerc for the rest of the race. Piastri has been overtaken by Verstappen. I said this battle could go all the way to the end, though, and it might well do. Although now Verstappen is on much, much better tyres, he'll probably start pulling away. I'll have a little look at that overtake, because it looks like it was in an unorthodox position. It wasn't an unorthodox position. It was just DRS and softer tyres, but I also do feel like at this stage in the Grand Prix, we're in a good position where if a safety car was to come out, we could get on a set of softs and start breezing past some guys, which would be tremendously helpful for us in terms of trying to take a race win here. Bottas still very much in the fight with Hamilton and Perez, though. This could very well be a great, great battle to the end. I really want to watch every minute of it, but I'm also aware this will be about a 4-hour episode if I do that, because I'll enjoy it too much and there'll be loads of replays. Piastri has got a position back on Verstappen. That's good stuff, although he doesn't really want to be in front of Verstappen at the DRS trigger zone. That's going to be a silly mistake. Was that coming down into Ascari? Looks like it was coming down into Ascari. It's gone very well for him. Just realised they've not rendered the oval, the banking on this, because that's not a bridge, that's an oval. That is the Monza banking that goes over that corner, and it's not rendered in the game. Just a weird thing. I don't know why I thought of that, but such is how my brain works. I'm very sorry. Anyway, back with Bottas. He's having a good go at Lewis Hamilton again, and Leclerc is closing on his softer, fresher tyres, it's got to be said, but I think the DRS toe is just enough to make it a challenge for him to keep up, which is kind of what we were hoping for. We just do need Bottas to catch up to Hamilton. Hamilton and Perez are very much in a fight. If Hamilton and Perez can have a come in together, that would be magical, because I think we'd skate through. I mean, we'd immediately get caught by Charles Leclerc and overtaken, but we'd skate through. And that's what we're looking for as we go for DRS again. Can we start increasing the gap to Leclerc under this DRS? We should be able to do it. Get ourselves a little bit more of a touch of breathing room. It looks like that's a thing that's going to happen. And no overtake though. Let's keep going because we've got to get an overtake done soon. You'd think there's got to be another lead change coming right now. Hamilton ahead of Perez. They're going to fight into the chicane. We're going to be on a watching brief, try and maybe pick up some scraps. Haven't done it. Piastri, the fastest man on track right now. That's a very useful piece of information to have because he has Max Verstappen behind him and they are dropping Ocon. So Piastri should be comfortably in the points at this stage, which is something we're very happy to see. It has to be said. Piastri does, especially after his mistake earlier, need to put up a good points finish. But anyway, we are still on board with Valtteri Bottas, still hoping for a good overtake. Really do need a gap to open up between Hamilton and Perez we can DRS our way into to get any higher than third. But frankly, a podium on his debut for Valtteri Bottas, his re-debut I should say, because of course he is a former Williams driver, was at Williams before he joined Mercedes to be Lewis's rear gunner. Doesn't want to be Lewis's rear gunner today though, when they're on different teams in different cars with different engines. We're not really playing with that. We are the lead Renault-powered cars, though. That's, I guess, a small consolation. As the battle between Hamilton and Perez comes out of Parabolica, they are neck and neck. I don't know who's going to get DRS at this point. I think it's going to be Lewis. It's not. It's going to be Sergio. I think we could leave Lewis for dead here if we just follow Sergio through. Lewis has spotted that coming. Knew that was coming as soon as he saw that Perez had got the magic overtake button. Leclerc is catching up with us as well. He's going to be in DRS range as well. And this could be a real three-way or four-way fight now. To the line, Russell is very much out of this battle. There are 17 laps to go, just coming up to be 16 laps to go. And we are fighting for dear life for a podium. We're very much hoping for someone to have a problem. Someone's locked up in Sector 1. That'll be whichever the second of the two Astons is. Guan Yu Shou would be my guess. And Ferrari having a look at the inside with Charles Leclerc. They might make this stick because they have got better tyres. But we will try again on the switchback. Are we going to make that happen? Probably not going to make that happen. That's probably Leclerc gone. He should get through Perez and Hamilton and just romp off to a handy lead unless there's a safety car very soon. You'd have to think. Let's see how Bottas' tyres are doing. Do we have more push in them? We really don't. We really do not have more push in those tyres. We are looking for a safety car to have any shot of a podium. But if we get a safety car and we're the only ones or the first car that comes in, everything could change. It could all go anywhere, anyway. Let's see what Oscar's doing, because I've just noticed he's in a battle with Russell and Sainz. And it's not inconceivable he could sneak his way up into fifth. That would be a turn up for the books, wouldn't it? Let's go on board with him, see how that looks from his onboard camera. We are still well up on fuel, which is good. A safety car would kill us on car weight, it's got to be said. But fresh tyres would definitely bring us into the race in a very, very exciting way. Going through Parabolica here on board with Piastri, Russell and Sainz. Going to have a good battle. Can we get DRS open and have a go? We are. Piastri with DRS open. Going past George Russell and hopefully staying past George Russell. He has done. What's that tyre battle looking like? Russell's on much fresher softs, so he should be putting up more of a fight than that. Maybe there is a pace deficit between us and the Mercedes. Either way, we're going to now have a look at Carlos Sainz under DRS. We're going to try and do that into Ascari. That'll be an interesting overtake. We're not going to make it just yet, but we're going to have another look right now. Can we do something to Carlos Sainz to get ourselves in a fight for fifth? We are going up the inside of the Parabolica, and we've made that one happen. That is beautiful work by Piastri. Sainz will try and find a way through. Doesn't do it, and we are free and clear. Piastri, what a boy, has pulled himself up into 5th and could potentially be a bit of a hero today after his earlier mishap adventure onto the grass. Not really, not his best work, but he is also, I think, catching Bottas slowly, maybe. I'm not sure. Sainz is catching us, that's for sure. Let's go off board and see how that looks. Go to the regular speed, because it's going to be a good battle coming out of Parabolic. I can tell you that much for absolute certain. There is going to be something happening with the DRS here, and it's probably going to be Sainz and Verstappen flying past us. George Russell's not going to get involved, and that's okay. That's fine. We're just going to have to try and keep as many of these guys behind us as we can. We're going to keep everyone behind us. Is that a thing that's going to happen? Looks like it is. Piastri, absolute blinder on defence there, has kept Sainz and Verstappen and Russell all behind him. And is he pulling off the best drive of his career so far that didn't end in a win? He did, of course, win in Singapore in the first season, which I think is where we're going after this race. So, good chance for him to be a repeat winner in the second season. Very possible, even though he's got Valtteri Bottas for a teammate. I wouldn't count our chickens. I seem to remember as well, Singapore he did well because there was a safety car and we pulled him at the right time. We pulled a bit of a crash gate. So we'll see how that goes. But Bottas still in that fight up top, looking good. 4 cars having a fight, and we are not out of it, which is the most exciting part. I think actually there is part of me just thinking, do I take a couple of laps, just harvest a little bit of ERS? Something's happened in Sector 1. I'm not sure what. Did it involve any of our drivers? It did not. That was Guan Yu Shou. He's not brought a safety car quite yet, which is a miracle, honestly, because Guan Yu Shou and Turn 1 are the best of friends at this point. That's why they spend so much time looking together. As Leclerc going for an audacious overtake on Hamilton and Perez coming out of the chicane, and if he pulls this off, that'll be beautiful stuff. It looks like he has done, you know. He's pulled that off in honestly spectacular fashion. It's got to be said, honestly spectacular fashion. Full credit to him for pulling that off, because that was as unlikely as it gets. We're going to keep zooming forward because we are trying to sort of stay in the DRS window. We'll be okay now, I think. We go up to neutral and stay there. We'll be fine. We should have the pace to catch up. Maybe a little bit of a deploy just to ensure we're there as we get across the line out of Parabolica. Otherwise, we're going to be in real trouble. But then we'll go back down to a neutral for a little while and stay in the DRS. Try and pull ourselves back up close to Perez and Hamilton. I'm not giving up on this podium. I'm going to micromanage Bottas from here to the end, I think. That's sort of my plan. Micromanage Bottas to the end and see if we can maybe pull off something a little bit special, because Bottas now has a fully charged battery, and this is going to give me the ability to unleash him, possibly under DRS out of Parabolica on a full deploy. Piastri has lost a place to Verstappen again. Tell me if you've heard that story before, because those guys have been at it all race, and I feel like they're probably going to swap position again very shortly. We'll see what happened there. Straight down the pit straight, happy days. Back in the DRS, it's exactly what we expect to happen. And Bottas now well within 0.5, half a second of Perez. I am starting to get a bit of a cheeky feeling we can pull something off here. I don't know why, I'm just starting to get a cheeky feeling we might just steal a podium. And Leclerc is on course to win at Monza for Ferrari, always a special feeling for the boy. And we are all rapidly closing on Guan Yu Shou, who no doubt will bin it in turn 1 again anyway and let us all pass him, or become a nuisance because he'll come back on the track right in front of us, which would be much worse. I'll be completely honest. Either way, we are very hoping for some kind of safety car action happening here, I think. Piastri overtakes Verstappen again. Bottas, I've just realised, I have not deployed, and I was intending to. Let's do that. Get your deploy on, my friend. Let's see what we can do to get ourselves through here. DRS open, push yourself back up. You're going to do it, you're not going to do it. We'll go back to neutral then, shall we? We'll try again next lap. I almost had a look at Perez. Didn't quite get there. Had a look though. Fair play to him for having a look. We're about to get tyre drop off like nothing you've ever seen as well, which is not going to help us at all. A safety car is the answer right now for every driver on the track, probably, quite honestly, because tyres are being shredded during this race. Let's double speed that just so we can get ourselves back into the zone, ready for our big deploy coming through out of Ascari. In fact, we'll do the deploy now. Get the deploy coming out of Ascari and out of Parabolica, and I think maybe there's a cheeky pass on here. Maybe. Let's go to the overtake mode because he's going to get the taste, I think, as he gets closer to Perez. Get the little taste. Is he going to get there? Not quite. We're going to go back to neutral. We'll try again on the next lap. We are getting closer and closer. We're biting at the heels of Sergio Perez for that final podium spot with Valtteri Bottas. The tyres are about to die away, which is not really what we were looking for. Piastri is locked up again. Has he brought out a safety car? He is not. He almost did by rejoining way too early then. But we've got away with it, I guess. We've got away with something, is what I'm trying to say. Bottas, a 13-second gap to Verstappen. Just thinking. His tyres are gone. His tyres are gone. We were caught in 9th, though. No, we are banking on a pit stop. I think I'm just going to have to hope Bottas pulls off something special. To be perfectly blunt, we're going to have to hope he pulls off something special because these tyres are barely going to make it to the end of the Grand Prix. Certainly not in any great condition because there are 7 laps to go and we have not been preserving those tyres well at all. You can see on the curve on the graph we have dropped below the yellow line. We're doing our best, but we're not quite there. I don't think we're going to get there. In fact, there's part of me saying let's just go light and take what we can get, hope for a mistake. But it's not really racing, is it? It's not really racing. Let's just keep zooming forward. Sector 1, Sector 2, someone's having an absolute nightmare of a time out there. Ocon locking up in turn 11, moves Piastri back up into 7th. That's helped out a little bit. Sainz has spun on turn 5 as well. Puts Piastri must be the luckiest man in Italy today. He just keeps finding people making mistakes ahead of him. Talking of which, Bottas is in the hunt here, and we're going to give him all the overtake he could possibly want to try and get himself past Leclerc, whose tyres are going off very rapidly, and so are ours. It's got to be said. Let's see what we can do coming out of here. Can we get ourselves involved in something? We're doing okay. Keep pushing, Valtteri. You can do this. I'm going to go to a bit of a neutral there because otherwise we're going to be in trouble. We're going to try and catch Perez unaware though. Catch Perez napping going into this chicane. And if we catch Perez napping into the second chicane, we'll be okay. Are we going to make it work? We have made it work. I mean, tyres are, as always, the question here because Perez is about to join us in a world of hurt, if we're completely honest. Going towards the end of this race, it's going to be all about how these tyres hang on for everyone. But we are also still very much close to Charles Leclerc. We are on Bottas having an absolute blinder. Guan Yu Zhou somehow still hasn't been lapped, and I'm not quite sure how. It's a bit weird because they can't have developed the car that much. We are going to have another little look at the back of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. We're going to get DRS. We will have run out of ERS though, unfortunately. A little bit overcooking it, just trying to get ourselves past Perez. But I'm not overly stressed by it because I do feel like we've got a little bit of something left in the tank. A little bit of an overtake coming. I don't know who's getting the overtake here. It's going to be Hamilton. We're going to try and follow him through again. We're pushing as hard as we can. Genuinely pushing as hard as we can. Charles Leclerc, we're not going to quite do him. He's going to hang on the outside of Hamilton. And Perez back in the fight as well. Very much an interesting four-way battle. You can throw a blanket over these guys. Absolutely crazy stuff in the late stage of this race. Really, really has been a great battle for Bottas, for Hamilton, for Leclerc, for Perez. It really has been quite close all the way through this race. They've all done a great job of putting on a good show for the fans here in Monza. Hamilton and Leclerc fighting for the win. And if any mistakes happen, we're there to capitalise on it. And I, for once, feel at least slightly confident that we aren't going to be the ones making a mistake because I have a driver in the car that I know is not accident-prone moron. Quite frankly, which is to our benefit. Bottas overtaking Perez again. Piastri has found himself just in clear air, which is quite nice for him. I think actually I'm going to just drop Piastri down to a standard just to guarantee his tyres make it to the end. That feels like a good plan. Bottas staying with Leclerc and Hamilton. I don't know what's going to happen here. This could literally go almost any way in terms of gap to the leader. There's less than a second between the front four. That's absolutely ridiculous. Tyres-wise, we're sort of in the fight still, but we're going to drop right out of it very, very quickly. It's going to be a case of Valtteri doing his best defensive driving, I think, to keep this position. But Leclerc takes the lead again. Hamilton trying to get it on the switchback. Bottas there still watching, still waiting, still knows there's an opportunity to get a sniff at this at the end. It's not out of the realms of possibility. We're doing the best we can, and we are holding on for dear life. It has to be said, for dear life to the back of Lewis Hamilton. Let's just keep going. Hopefully we can stay close enough to keep Perez behind in the DRS. That would help us out immensely. We are doing okay here. We're keeping Perez behind. We're staying up with Hamilton and Leclerc. We are in this battle, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of this battle, actually, to be honest. We are still not catching Guan Yu Zhou, so there's been a bit of an upgrade maybe for the two Alfa Romeo cars, which is nice to know. We can see him finally, but we're not going to pass him before the end of the race. We're just too far back. Bit of a weird one. Anyway, it's fine. We're going to try and stay in the battle. Bottas's tyres have gone. Bottas is now just a bystander, essentially. He's just trying to hold Perez off on the most worn tyres of anyone on the grid, probably, I suspect. Yep, by far the most worn tyres, just because he's been sat behind this battle, not really trying to drive in clean air, just doing his best to just keep up, really. Sector 2, there's been a problem. Is that going to help us out at all? It looks like something involving Kevin Magnussen. The yellow flag, Magnussen's still going, so that's not going to be a red flag and a sprint to the finish on soft tyres for us, unfortunately, because I feel like if we had that situation, we'd actually be in pretty good stead, given that we have enough fuel to keep us on high power mode until the end, and we'd have enough tyres then to really be in the fight. Either way, we are still in the fight. We are just hoping someone makes a mistake. Multiple cars crashed, and that could end the race early. Let's see what's happened there. Were any of our drivers involved in it? That's a big question. Let's have a look and see what happened here. So, 4 cars is not going to go into this corner very well, that's for sure. Who's going to bin it? It was Ricciardo into the back of K-Mag, I think. And that has put the cat among the pigeons. Looks like Magnussen or Tsunoda, I think Tsunoda, that is moving, or was not moving, I should say. We didn't get a safety car out of it. We're on the last lap. We're just full battle to the end now. Let's just go full attack. Screw it. Let's see what we can do. We'll get as much out of these tyres as we can. See if there is an overtake to be made on Lewis. I'm aware these tyres are just going to fall apart towards the end of the race, but it'll be fine if we can just keep the pushing going. We're going to be okay. Piastri not really going to be in the fight with George Russell, unfortunately. That's a shame, but it's all about getting Bottas onto the podium. We're on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Another car's run wide in Sector 2. That had to have been Guan Yu Zhou, because it always is. He's also the only other car in Sector 2, which is what I'm basing that on. See, knew what I was talking about. He's just doing his best to get himself lapped. It's like it's in his contract to always finish a lap down. And you can see the Ferrari in the background there, just getting him in sight as we come through Ascari. Are we going to get past him? Put him a lap down, put him out of his misery, stop him making any more mistakes. Bottas is staying on the back of Hamilton and Leclerc. I'd love it if they hit each other in Ascari. That would have been outstanding. And now here we go into the final corner. We're going to give him everything. We've got full beams on the overtake coming out of the final corner. That's what we're going to be going for. Is there something there? Is there a look there? A sniff? Coming through the final corner. Anything there for us to offer with Valtteri Bottas? We have used all of our overtake. We are just hoping to go on pure pace now, but we're going to cross the line. And that is a podium on debut for Valtteri Bottas Incredible drive for the Flying Finn. Piastri was still catching up with George Russell even towards the end of the race there. He's dropped Ocon by 5 clear seconds. Really, really good finish. Less than a second, I think. Quick math. Less than a second between the front 4 drivers there. What great, great driving for us. We have put ourselves back in the fight, picked up a lot of good points on our rival. I say picked up points on our rivals, actually. There were Mercs ahead of both of our drivers, but we've certainly picked up points over the Alpines and very possibly even the odd point over Ferrari out of that race. Has to be said, that has gone very, very well for us.
What a phenomenal job Valtteri Bottas did today. This podium is a true recognition of everyone who's been working so hard for this result. And this man certainly isn't finished with F1, proving he still has plenty to fight for in this sport. And after all that hard work, surely it's time for them to enjoy this moment. A very impressive showing today for Williams.
Absolutely. I imagine it'll be pats on the back all round, and deservedly so.
And after this result, the team is 4th in the constructor standings.
Meet us next at the Marina Bay Circuit for a breathtaking race through the streets of Singapore.
So, Singapore next. 4th place held on to in the constructors. Everyone looking very happy. Valtteri Bottas picking up the big points. Let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship to see how that's shaken things up. Valtteri Bottas moves up 2 places into 9th in the Drivers and could very well get himself ahead of Fernando Alonso by the end of the season. Maybe even Piastri if he can keep picking up 6-point hauls like that. In the Constructors' Championship, we see we have made gains on Alpine, really, but that's fine. Results-wise, Leclerc, Hamilton, Bottas, Perez, Verstappen, Russell, Piastri and Ocon taking home the points today. Vettel and Alonso coming home 12th and 13th. Very disappointing for them. Are we going to get any development points? We will for Piastri. Probably won't for Bottas because he's probably had his last handful of those. And none, of course, for David Schumacher because I didn't want to put him in the car. Piastri needs the practice, clearly. And Bottas needed to get used to his car. And boy, did he get used to his car to pull off that result. That was quite a special achievement for us all around. Big podium, and hopefully the first of many big podiums to come. We've done a new chassis design, which is going to help us out. Let's before we forget by wrapping up the episode, let's make sure we have built some of those for Singapore because we're going to probably want to put that on the car fairly rapidly. I feel like we should rush some because that's going to be 4 we need. Rush them. We'll get 3 in time for the Grand Prix. That will be fine. Let's do 5 in fact, just to be absolutely safe because that's got to get us to the end of the season. Right, we have 3 pieces of design to do and I'm looking for as much anything as I can get out of this car. Let's say as much speed as I can get out of the car. I think we're going to go for an underfloor. That's going to be high on my priority list. We'll do an underfloor. I did say we would stop doing developments after Imola, but we did also run out of money. That was the situation in the last episode, so that's what we're going to do here. Go for more high speed. That's an optimised aero was working out quite well for us there. We could be first on everything. That's not something I hate. That's got to be said. Is there a way I can push that so we're first in everything? You never know. Stranger things have happened. Drag reduction. That's just starting to hurt us a little bit. Is it hurting us a little bit? Let's just go for optimized aero. Optimized aero, and we're going to push ourselves a little bit better into the... That's fine. Do you know what, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to go with that. That'll work out for us. That'll be absolutely fine. Let's go for 3 engineers on that one. 4 engineers on that one. 4 feels like the right way to go. We want it to come before the end of the season, so we're going to go with saying insufficient funds. I didn't like it. Insufficient funds. Let's go for normal then, I guess. That's going to come in for the last couple of races of the season. We are running out of cash very rapidly. Can we get a rear wing design done? That would be useful if we could. Seems unlikely based on cash, but we'll give it a go. We'll see what upgrades we can get done from the car this time around. We're going to go... Again, I feel like we should just optimise the aero. Is that going to help? Probably not. High speed performance doesn't gain as much. Low speed performance, big gains. Okay, we'll do some low speed performance. We'll just make sure we're not sacrificing too much of the high speed, because that would be a disappointing way to make that happen. Is that going to work? That'll work for us. That's going to be good. Can we make it work? Absolutely not, because we wouldn't have any money. It doesn't like us not having money, which is, I guess, fair. That's how that's supposed to work. Okay, so let's just... Is there anything I can build on the money I have? That's the next question. I can get a side pod done. Okay, we'll get a side pod done, because side pods, they do help with overall speed, don't they? So, side pods might not be a bad shout if we can get a good anything out of it. So, optimized aero. How's that looking? Optimized aero for us. I feel like drag reduction needs to be a thing we work on, because that's always good. Can we get our engine cooling up? I mean, that's a bit. That does make the car slightly better if we do that. If we do that, let's just not worry about engine cooling. Let's just go for more top speed. See if it'll allow that to happen. It should do. Go 3 of those, and we are going to have to go normal again, because that's just how that works. Rush it. Let's rush it. Let's get that extra speed in. I know it's going to cost me probably one more design, but it'll be fine, because I feel like suspension is going to be one that costs too much anyway. We could have done it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to leave it there. That's okay. Right, let's just get those. Get the parts on the car is a thing for next episode. Let's get the development points on the drivers. Right, Piastri, I want you to work on your smoothness again, buddy, because we need to get your tyre usage back under control. We're okay on the engineering team. Let's have a look at the emails just to make sure we're okay there. I think we will be. Everyone's going to be happy after that. Regulation vote, that's what I was looking for. Us and Alfa Romeo were the only teams that voted for a higher budget. Interesting. Yuki Tsunoda's been scouted, he's okay. George has been scouted, he's okay. Lewis has 3 months left on his deal. Oh, he's not interested. Could have had Lewis and Valtteri in a Williams, and it didn't quite work out. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I have, as always, been chasing lately. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that good stuff. Leave comments down below, share with your friends. You know how it all goes, just for the algorithm. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I have, as always, been chasing lately. Pleasure having you here, and I'll see you all very soon. Have a good one.